So, welcome back to number 9, part 2. It wasn't going to be a bit of a two-parter, but it is now. I have to delete some things too to make a bit more room. I suppose the next thing that I wanted to say that was important is that I'm trying not to be completely negative about this larp. This larp had a lot of good things going for it. But it's good for me to express exactly what I've experienced. Because we wrote a lot of it down. So the stuff that we experienced, Leah and I talked about it this morning, and wrote down a whole lot of points. And we actually started with what was good. So there were a lot of things that we thought of that were very good. Pardon me. And some things that, they needed improvement on, and we actually gave them the feedback straight up. And some of the ideas we actually had for them, some of the things we just naturally take for granted. And big shout outs to Kylie and Dave. If I haven't told you lately, thank you. The experiences that we've had in PG, as the basis of a learning curve, is amazing. And we've taken along a lot of the learnings and teachings, and have improved on it. And that's something that, sometimes we take for granted. Ultimately, and I'm sure that PG, had earlier LARPs that they've seen and improved on it. Everything's improvement. So things like set times for linear games, they never considered it. So having actual, we are running X game here, we need this many NPCs, we have a time, it's going to go for this long, and this is what we're going to do in it, never occurs to them. Never occurred to them. But it has now. And they're going to implement that, which is really cool. I mean, it grants them some more measure of control, which they need because things are just so chaotic. So much more like Biff, in terms of players suddenly want to do something, so GMs are scrambling to get enough NPCs to get it done. But it's well scripted. Like they've got so many literally written up mods of things that they want people to do and stats and stuff. So they need to focus a bit more on one area or the other, and it'll make for a much better game for players. One of the other things that they do really well, one of the other things that was amazing, was that they have, at the moment, 2 tabletop games that are run in the same world. So players can play different characters and they run it out of different systems too. They run it not out of their own system. They run it out of 5th Ed. They run it out of Pathfinder. They do different things, but they run the game. They run the games. Games, the world is a world, and the world is a world you play in, and that's fantastic. It just shows a bit more depth that I wish we had, and hopefully we will have. In terms of that, the other great thing, they have a library. And we're going to implement this library at some point. Libraries like this, where players can spend the time in libraries to find information that they need. So the book might actually be on the shelf. They have a huge library. Some of them will just like DVD cases where on the inside it'll have you get +1 to a skill, or in their case, you get this rote, information. Some of them would be you get, you actually had the information literally written in these books. It's fantastic. They also had minted coin, which we've got photos of, so they minted coins. Unfortunately, it did cost a fair bit of money for them, so I don't know how we'd do it. But we try. Definitely always try. Quite amazing. Just some of the level of detail that they've gone to is really big. Really amazing. What are some other shout-outs that I can give? Some other recollections that are important? Look. Try as you will. But when games need to have hooks and tie-ins for players, for new players to get involved in story. And that's something that we're going to do. So have a look at it, Shin and Asahina, for new players. Because you may find that there are some stories, some key hooks that will be there for new players and will be aimed at new players to get them involved in the greater story that's going on. So that although although there are players that have bits of information, and apologies to them in advance. Some of the information that players have gained, they've worked hard for, and I accept that. And you feel like a plot line is yours, and you want to hold on to it and make it special for yourself. But if you're on the opposite side of that, and you're a new player, and you see these players going on epic stories, and they're doing epic things, although you have done the hard yards, think about how it would be to be these players who have no idea what's coming on and feel like they're being patronized because you're going on the dungeon adventure, which has no tie-ins, so you're just being pandered to essentially. So we're going to try that, and we hope it works, because it's something that we need to do better, along with expand the amount of GMs and things we're having. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to start approaching some people when we get back home about helping us run. And it may take some time. We're not going to say we're going to do it overnight. We get home and suddenly have tryouts and stuff. But if you are interested, talk to us. Doesn't mean we're going to say yes. Doesn't mean we're going to say no. It just means talk to us. That's what we need. We need people to talk to us. We keep saying email us, Facebook us, talk to us. Talk to us. Physically talk to us. Work in GGs. I'm at a stable location. I can organise to meet people if they need it. Same with other people, obviously. Now, while I'm in the US, that went without saying, but talk to us. We're people. And if you feel that you can't talk to us, then that's actually a huge-ass problem. Because, how can we be better as people or as GMs if you, the player, can't talk to us? I don't get it. I always like to think we can resolve just about anything necessary. A couple of big shout-outs. First goes to Aaron. So, funny story. 5 years ago, when we were at Gen Con last time, Megan and Leah and I, along with Maddie and Kathy, played with the Heroes of Rokugan 2 finale. And they had some adventures and stuff. So I NPC. I ran stuff. So that was kind of cool. But Leah and Megan played on a table, ironically, with people who were there this weekend at our LARP, randomly, who have had a lot of the same experiences we've had in terms of they've had issues with the Heroes of Rokugan 3 crew and have now run their own LARP. Albeit their LARP is non-contact and they have cards for disputes. But they're running their own LARP. And we've given them our details. So hopefully they look at our LARP and look at the photos and look at stuff. And maybe they'd like to join in our campaign, because our campaign rocks. I think they look at the stories and hopefully enjoy them too. So big shout outs to Aaron and co, because God, it's good just to reminisce sometimes about the good old days. And talk about characters and just talk about things that are awesome. Okay. No slouch on us. Our costuming levels are good. We need to use paint more. These guys use paint a lot. In terms of the demons, in terms of, you have, I'm not going to say drow, they didn't have drow, they had demonic races that had to get black skin. You have people that, that fully deck themselves out in the black paint. You're like, wow, that's amazing. Or have mystical tattoos on their faces all the time. Now, in our LARPs, usually we have a static NPC time. Times we want you to NPC, which means you have to clean up your face, which is usually a pain in the posterior. Especially because, if you got to be in character if you want something to happen, getting in that. So we've got to work on that, because maybe there's some way we can have pre-painted masks or something that can represent some stuff. So looking into that. Looking into do some more mask work as well. That's pretty important. And when we come back, especially over the summer, oh, by the way, it does reiterate the point that we don't have games in summer because our summers are harsh. Because these guys do it every month, on the month, except for maybe Christmas. But during their summers, they basically sat around most of the time. And inside the cabins and inside the actual buildings, it was hotter than outside the buildings. So it was pretty amazing. But their level of costuming ranged from OMG, that is so amazing, to new players who literally... and I smiled so hard because my first event, this was me. I had the black t-shirt with the black tracky dacks, with the black cloak. I smiled because that was me, my first event. There are no photos, by the way, of me at my first event. Oh, take that back. There is a photo. I found one in going through Dave and Kylie's old photos. Never said anything. But there is a photo of me as the time elemental. Now, I knew it was me. Because it's funny, when you look at photos of yourself, you can sometimes work it out. But there's a photo of me as the time elemental. No other photos, though. But looked at this guy, and he had the sword and board. Although I had a more of a regular shield. He had a round cardboard shield. He had his sword, buffer sword. And he had his black cloak and his t-shirt with a couple of holes in it, and tracky dacks and shoes. And I thought to myself, there's 20-year-old me. Different ethnicity, but it doesn't matter. There's 18-year-old Mark. There's the young hopeful guy who's there at his third event. He's made it to 3 events, and still just follows people like a puppy. But huge shout out to the level of costuming they've got. That was cool. It's sad that new players get treated a bit badly. It's a bit disappointing. But ultimately, look, we had fun. Oh, there's the other big difference. No game on Sundays. So they play from, when people get up on a Saturday. I'll say that lightly because Leah and I went to bed at 2. People rolled in at 4. The cat crow things that came out and tried to wake people up came out at 9:30. There were a lot of exhausted players. What do you mean? It's almost my bedtime. A lot of exhausted players who just ran rampant and just collapsed. And by the time that it got to middle of the day on the Saturday, they were dying. But then when we talked to people, they said, no, most of the main combat and main storyline stuff happens at night on a Saturday night. And I thought, oh, okay, I don't understand that. And they said, yeah, because we don't game on Sundays. We just clean up and leave by 12. I thought, what the bejeebus? Why would you do that to yourself? But apparently, yeah, they prefer going home early. So that's what they do. They don't try to run anything on a Sunday. They just pack up and leave. To each their own. But they may change that because we did mention how we changed things up a bit. It's kind of interesting for them. That's about it as far as the LARP is concerned. Yeah. Oh, other big shout out is to Jen, the Siaban Void Siaban. Siaban are like elemental peoples. They had lots of really cool races. The race ideas were fantastic. Yeah, that was cool to look at. But the classes and the stats and stuff were just mind-boggling. And the world was fantastic. The detail and stuff was fantastic. I hope to put as much detail into Dan tier. I can tell you that right now. So a couple of things. Just letting some people know that Shinden Asahina book, For the Love of Humanity book. Not because we need players, although you can play or NPC. It's cool. Just so we can start finalizing things when we get back. Look, it's almost all written up, which is really fantastic. We've had a lot of really good ideas and some input on some things. Shaping up to be a cool event. If it pans out, it's going to be really awesome, and I really hope it does, because it's just going to be really cool. Some players may not like this event. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Not all players are going to enjoy this event. Why can I say that? Because we've had events where we've said that, and sometimes players need to find reasons for the characters to be there. Look, I'm going to be honest. Come because you enjoy playing. You can always find a reason for your character to be there. You can always get involved in the plot. You can always do things like that. But if you can't do it and you can't justify that to yourself, NPC. There's no shame in NPC. You get a cheaper weekend, and you still get all the good meals, and you still have lots of fun. Games are still freaking awesome. NPCing is not a bad thing. Oh, that was the other thing I mentioned. So their LARPs are so cheap they can afford to have first-time players or NPCs don't pay anything, which is nuts. We run to cost. Basically, it's the only reason we charge you guys as much as we do is to cover costs. I think we make a little bit more so we can then buy more props for the next event. We don't exactly charge $1 bazillion to rake in money hand over fist. And I'd like to think that we put the effort in so that you get your money's worth when you roleplay with us. Hands down. No matter how expensive people may say our LARPs are, I know that when I run a LARP, I can put my hand on my heart and say, without a doubt, you are getting your money's worth. And I can say that. That's really cool for us. So yeah, book for Shin and Asahina. If you don't know whether you can handle the role-playing NPC, it's not hard. Tell your friends, bring your friends, spread the word. It's going to be a really fun event. Whether you're part of hashtag Kim Crane, which I've seen float around Facebook at the moment, or whether you're hashtag Fight the Power, hashtag conspiracies. There's lots of hashtags going around apparently from players on different forums. And you can always get involved. It's the best part about L5R. Get involved. After this weekend, there will be a day game. We are doing another L5R day game that will be, as we try to do day games on demand and get people. But look, we're pretty serious on this. If you have, the next day game we have will be a bunch of invite-only games. I'll put this out there. One person has come to us and said he's going to get a party together. He wants to investigate something. I'm not going to tell you that because it's his game and he'll know who he is. And if you've been tapped on that shoulder, there will be another character-only game, which theoretically they will know about when they come to us and talk to us. Dates and stuff will be real, but if you have something that you would like to do, your character would like to do, you need a party to do it, because there are some things that you will need a party to do, then guess what? You can. Talk to us. We're happy to try to facilitate people. I've had another comment before I go. So there's that. We're also going to try to do some more Dantier stuff. And over the summer, we're going to have a couple of workshops. We need to do some creation stuff. In terms of some prop making for some Dantier that we really need to get a handle on. Some of it will be making more Dantier style weapons. Because we've tried to make culturally specific swords and culturally specific ideas, which we want to pan out, we want to flesh out, because that's really important to us. Lastly, I'm not going to say most importantly, we have events coming up. They're going to be good. When we get back, we'll post the dates for things, because that's going to be fun. And we hope people are enjoying our stuff. So, on to last couple of things. I had another question. Someone asked, is there anything about America that's actually better than in Australia? Okay. I will answer this as honestly as I can. Yes. Yes, there are. I'm going to say not so much in DC. DC prices have been pretty expensive. Apparently it's because you're near the capital and therefore we're just going to jack the prices. Jack the prices. Pretty bad, yeah. The ability to go to a LARP every single weekend would be a winner. But that's a bit unfair. That's not fair. Ranger channels on television has been absolutely amazing. Their standard package of regular shows is amazing. The 80s and 90s mixes on their digital networks have been better because there are songs that I haven't heard for years. Food is a no. Food makes me appreciate Australia and just appreciate the food that we have. You know, I think of Don Dons now, and I think I crave a bit of Don Don action. Simply because I know that when I taste the food, I'm going to taste the food, and it's going to be amazing. Not to say that the prices aren't expensive. The prices are terribly expensive. Even at Don Don's, Don Don's is cheap, but man, some of the food here is just bizarrely cheap. You think to yourself, crap, I'm getting this much food for that amount of money? Holy Jeebus. Like, IHOP. We went to an IHOP, because I didn't go to the IHOP the last time, so Leah took me to the IHOP this time. But for the amount of money that we paid, for the amount of food they just kept bringing out, and they kept refilling my drink, and, it's stupid. It's stupid. It's just too much. Too much food, too much. I can understand why they have obesity issues, I'm trying to drink, except for this Sprite. All I drink is diet stuff is out here because it has no calories. And because the water is bad. Water is bad. It's like in medieval Britain. All you can drink is the beer because you can't handle the sugar. Can't handle the water. And that's actually really scary. Most places have free Wi-Fi. Actually, there you go. That's probably the best thing I can say. Most places have free Wi-Fi. This place that I'm in currently, which was by far probably the prettiest place I've been in, has no free Wi-Fi. So I've just had to pay for it. Shit. But, do you know what? It's worth it. It's worth it. I'm able to upload this and it'll be ready and that'll be fantastic. Look, I am probably the best thing about being here. Probably the best thing about America, about some of the experiences that I've had here that I haven't had at home. And this is going to sound weird, but is everybody I talk to loves their country. They really do. They have such a fanatical patriotism to their country that some of it I think defies a bit of logic. To me, it defies logic, but no, they love them. They love it. Regardless of race or creed, they are American, and I hope one day that, regardless of race or creed in Australia, that I can stand next to everybody else and say, I'm an Australian, he's an Australian, we're all Australian. Because regardless of where we're from, where our ancestors are from, we're all Australian, we're all one people. And then, one day I hope that expands into a global, I'm an earthling, he's an earthling, she's an earthling, we are earthlings. Regardless of race, creed, gender, anything. We're just one planet. We're all one ball planet. And we all theoretically share the same genus of human, Homo sapiens. So, I hope that that's something that we can all embrace together. Such a happy moment. So, tomorrow, I'm on a bus to New York. We'll begin the final leg of our journey, which is a week and a bit in New York. I'm personally looking forward to it. We've got, again, another day without Leah. So some of the things we're doing, which hopefully we'll be able to catch up on. Billy Joel. We've got cheap tickets in the upper stratospheres of Madison Square Garden. But I really want to go to Madison Square Garden, so we're going to see Billy Joel. Luke and I have tickets to SummerSlam, so we're going to do SummerSlam. And apparently it's going to star the Green Arrow, because everybody likes Stephen Amell. He's just fantastic. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see Ronda Rousey fight, and she's just a geek queen. And I really hope if Marvel get their act together that she could play Carol Danvers, because by golly, she's just got the chutzpah to do it. I mean, she said she's come out in an interview and say she'd like to. So I hope they take her up on it and use that popularity quickly, because it's a good sign. And she can theoretically act, which is reasonable. And she's very hot. Just be honest. And she likes Vegeta, which is pretty hot. We're hopefully going to see a couple of card stores while I'm there. Back to Nintendo World, because I do want to take Luke to see the giant Pikachu, because that was cool. And then there's Broadway shows. There's Shakespeare in the Park, which Megan wants to see. Yeah, I'm so about it. After seeing Henry V, which was amazing, I'm not so sure about Shakespeare in the Park. Tiffany's. Definitely looking forward to Tiffany's. As in the a la Breakfast at Tiffany's. Although there's been Tiffany's in other places, but not so bad. Do you want to talk about disappointment really quickly? National History Museum. So the Smithsonian for the National History Museum was such a letdown. I saw the Hope Diamond again. Last time I saw the Hope Diamond was actually at Tiffany's, because I had it there for restoration, and it was they know how to present it. Whereas the Smithsonian unfortunately didn't, so it didn't sparkle as much as it could. I've tried to take pictures of all the Sailor Scout gems, and unfortunately I could only find 3 of them. I didn't really have any jade on display, so I couldn't get any jadeite. Would have been nice. But I do have some zoisite and some pictures of nephlite and some beryl, which is funny. So that's just a bit of gimmicky stuff. And then lastly, that was just a quick little thing. Then Broadway will be Broadway shows. I do want to catch a couple of films quickly while I'm out here, because I missed Fury Road, which was pretty bad, but I'm hoping that Fury Road will be on the plane ride home, so we'll be able to see it, because it just looks amazing. And everybody tells me it's an amazing film, and I should have seen it, and I haven't seen it. Pretty bad. And Fantastic Four is a bomb, so I need to have a pick me up or two. I hope that everyone is well. I hope that wherever you are watching this, that you are enjoying whatever it is that you are doing. And I wish you and yours well, and mine well, and look, up to less than 2 weeks we should be home. 29th we get back. That's good. Oh, and one last thing. No, that's okay. It's irrelevant. So, I will catch you all later. I'll probably have time to do 1, maybe 2 more blogs before the end of this, and I look forward to it. One last thing though, at the end of my trip, in this block, I'll put these in a subfolder. But otherwise, I'm going to have I've decided that after doing this and feeling a bit rewarded for doing this, I'm going to start doing a weekly blog. I'll dedicate it to LARPing, because I think that's something that we do that is important, or just to role playing in general, maybe. But that it's important enough for me to do, and expressing one's opinions and oneself is pretty important. I'm not saying that it's the be-all and quintessential, it's just going to be my opinions. Occasionally I'll have other people come in and give their opinions, because opinions are important. Good. Well, ciao. Hope you're all well. Thank you.